power of this technology goes so far beyond what like the typical like table conversation about VR gives it credit for. You know, like we talk about it as like a useful tool or an immersive, fun experience, but what we're talking about is like truly transformational.
It should be perfectly possible to trick your brain into any experience if your brain can already do that itself naturally. So VR is almost like taking that ability for our brain to generate any experience for us and like putting it in our hands, which is wild.
Man, that's something in the history books. People are going to look back and be like, yeah, 2022, 2023. That's when education, after hundreds of years, finally upgraded.
We're in a strange time where our physical worlds are intersecting with our digital identities, and right now is a time to kind of determine what you want that to be.
Once you have full body tracking that works well and it's frictionless, right? Meaning it's easy to do.
Yes.
It's a whole new. It's not a game changer, it's a whole new game.
So maybe there will be some other people who would be curious to see what I'm learning, what I'm discovering, so to say. And that's how the Discover YouTube channel started.
Oh, not really Disco VR, Discover.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel bad when people ask me about VR, or they're like, what do you do? Like, all right.
Yeah.
You asked, here it comes.
I love VR, but I love going out and breathing fresh air. And not only was I stuck in VR for 10 days, I was stuck in one room because I was streaming, the same space. I didn't see the sunlight. I totally lost track of what time everything was.
She dances with the robot. She does the first steps. She dances with that robot. She takes that thing off her fist. I have the video. I'm holding it hostage. She takes it off her head and she says, I gotta have it.
There are a few moments in my life I can remember very vividly. The day I got married, the day my kids were born, the day Facebook announced that they bought Oculus is one of those days. I was making chili.
I've been in a lot of gaming communities, and the VR community is by far the best community that I've ever been involved with.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. It's the VR podcast of your dreams, and ours too. We're our own biggest fans here on Between Realities. Thank you for joining us. My name is Alex VR. I am one half of the Between Realities crew, and the other half is sitting next to me, as always. It's Skiva.
What's up, dude?
Hey, man.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Nice.
You know, most of the time when I see you, by the way, today's Friday. It's what is it? It's February 9th, 2024, the year of our Lord. And most of the time when I see you, it's been a week.
Yeah.
But not this time.
Yes.
We hung out yesterday.
Last night.
It was pretty cool.
It was. We had a very awesome, immersive experience that did not involve VR. It was so sick, though. Well, it was really awesome.
Yeah, it was. We got hit up by a homie within the VR space, Ray Moscow from HTC. Hit us up. We see him at conferences all the time, and he's like, yo, I'm in town, I'm going to this event, and I'm gonna hit up an escape room on Thursday. If you guys want to join us, do it. So we did, and it was sick,
dude.
It was like a VR game, like no joke.
Yeah, you know, I've mentioned that I've done probably over 50 escape rooms. That was one of the best, most well-made rooms I've ever done. It was like most of them, it's really stressful because the time you have is the time you have, and they deduct points for hints and stuff like that. This was more about the experience. Like, they'll help you through it. There's no docking of the time. If you're not going to pass, like, they'll get you through it. But like, it was such a production. There was animatronics, robotics, like, it was so sick. I don't think I mean,
I loved it.
It was so good. It was just so good.
And the other thing that's really cool is like, it's not like if you're driving down the street, there's like this big sign that says like escape room here, come in and experience the escape room. It's literally hidden like a speakeasy inside of an ice cream parlor. Like people are in this ice cream parlor ordering milkshakes, and like we go in and say the code word and they pull us behind the desk and like put us into a secret door, and now we're back in this escape room place. Super sick. Shout out to Ray from HTC for having us out and giving
Good
Steve and I a reason to see each other during the week.
Heck yeah, dude.
It was beautiful.
That was awesome. And Failed to Render Comedy Club saying, hey, y'all coming to South by Southwest? We will be there. We will absolutely be there, and we're coming for you, Kyle.
Between Realities, coming to South by Southwest this year, this March 8th through, I don't know, 13th or something. We will be in Austin. We're going to be hanging out with the VR homies, and hopefully you. So, you know, if you're in Austin or in the nearby area, hit us up, come hang out with us. Let's go see like a concert.
It'll be a good time. And yes, J-Brat will also be at GDC. So South by Southwest, and we come home for just a couple days and head out to GDC. GDC is probably the most important conference for what I do for work, so I wouldn't miss it for the world. And there's so much awesome at GDC. It is
will you shut
absolutely
up?
amazing.
Could you just like shut up, please?
Sorry,
because it's like not in my realm for work, and I don't know if I'm going to be there. I'm guessing I'm not going to, and it's making me sad. And I just want to like go back to a happy place if I could.
I mean, you know, we got some passes if you want to work a booth a little bit. I know that it's not the best.
Hey, well, you know me, though. You know me. I kind of come alive in that role, so we can talk
for sure.
But anyway, let's get into stuff. Before we introduce today's guest, I just want to quickly say hi to our community. Thank you for tuning into our live show here on YouTube. YouTube is definitely the home of Between Realities, but we also have our content on Spotify. We have it on Apple Podcasts and wherever else you listen to podcasts. You can find Between Realities. Also, did you guys notice we've been sharing shorts? It's been a new thing. For season 8.
Yeah.
Skiva bought an AI machine to edit our videos.
And it does not do it doesn't do a perfect job. I still spend probably an hour and a half tweaking things, making it work, but like it pulls out like 35 shorts per episode automatically and gives me a good starting point. You know what I mean? And it does a lot of the editing. It like stacks us and like does it. So let us know if you like them, because they're fun. They're fun to do.
They're cool, and we're hoping that it will help us grow our audience, right? Because everybody who watches this show knows it just doesn't get any better than Between Realities. So why don't we get it in front of everyone? You know, like we owe it to humanity, really, to spread this far and wide.
Yes.
So
spread VR far and wide.
Tell your family, tell your friends. Between Realities is the place. So anyway, I noticed VR Catalan's in the chat earlier, and he's still there for me. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up?
Good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in to Between Realities today. I've also got RedSlashAce here with us.
Hey, what's up?
Ryan B is in the house, ready for the freaking weekend. That's right, dude.
What's up?
Getting things done, man. Shout out to the Duncans.
I know.
Jeez.
They're the best.
We could have a whole show about it if we wanted to.
Oh, wait. Have we already? You should go back and check out that show from Get Him to the Metaverse and J Dunn and Joy Rain. Fantastic.
Was that last season?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, it might have been the season before. I don't know.
We don't know. What's time anyway? Arcanian's here. What's up, man? Good to see you, dude. Amelia Faust in here. That's pronounced Faust, everyone, with the O.
What's up, Amelia?
Faust, the O-W sound. ePilot007 chilling with us as well. Good to see you, buddy. Assassin32, my homie from our Vegas experiences.
Hey, what's up?
Quick cosplay. Girl, where you at? Where are you? Let's play something. Demio battles, please. You give me a reason to get in there. Actually, since they've added the more recent progression, I have not played. Or I've played once, but I haven't.
It's been a minute for me too.
Yeah, you can get to level 25 now.
Oh, sick! I really got to get back in there.
It's really fun, dude.
I really like that game, and I really, really love Racket Club.
Yeah,
I got to play more Racket Club. Man, Pal World has ruined me lately for games.
Yeah.
Man, it really has.
It is what it is. And, you know, for the record, I haven't been in Pal World yet. This weekend, I am doing it. Next week, we're going to talk about all the adventures we had, because I'm honestly getting some FOMO from that. Hussein X is here. What's up, man? Good to see you. As Skiva already mentioned, Fail to Render. That's Kyle Render. Comedy Club in VR. Go check that out if you haven't. Kensei Gaming is here. He's our buddy. He's lurking here in Arizona. Gotta love it. Oh, and he just hit us with a super chat too. $5. Happy Friday. Yay. That's right, baby. That's right. Also, there's a super chat from Beyond Frames here. Happy Friday. Yo, thank you so much, Beyond Frames Entertainment. That thing is orange. It's Swedish denomination, and that is a valuable super chat.
Yeah, I think it's 26-ish.
Wow, dude.
USD.
Skiva like has like a
trying,
price conversion.
I'm trying. I'm like, what did they donate every weekend? It's so kind. I was just curious.
Well, they're amazing.
They are.
And everything that Beyond Frames touches
is gold.
Is great.
Really.
Yeah.
They truly don't take anything that isn't a really good game.
Man, dude, you know, if you are like starved for like some compliments and attention, just drop us a super chat. Let me tell you, because we'll start telling you all the things we love about you. Casey Mon is here. What's up, Casey Mon? Good to see you in the live
Casey
chat.
Mon. We'll see you soon.
Yeah,
See you in March.
Long now. Yeah. Obscure Nerd as well, right?
What's up, Andy?
Wait, Andy, dude, you got to come to Austin too, bro. Like, let's see you there, okay?
For real. Or San Fran for GDC. But then you only get me.
James is here. What's up, James? Good to see you. Hey, dude, I'm going now. I feel like this happened like
come, dude, it's GDC.
I know, I got it.
You know,
I want to.
Come on, man.
I want to. Mahina, hey, Mahina, thanks for being here and joining us. Fluke Rogi as well.
Just divide by 10, dudes. Heck yeah. Thanks. That's what Mahina said for the SEC to USD conversion.
Okay.
Divide by 10.
Boom.
That's easy. Nice round number. Makes it simple.
It does make it simple. Traveling Man, it's good to see you, dude. And Vivian is here.
Vivian, what's up?
Yeah, we like
How's
Vivian.
it going?
And Glitch Fandango as well.
Hey, Glitch.
My
How's it going?
there. And Dune Adime. He's waiting for his Showdown email. Yeah, people have been talking about Showdown.
Oh, dude, and rightfully so. That game is freaking phenomenal.
Oh, really?
It is so good.
Ooh,
it is so good. It's gonna be the next smash hit in VR for sure.
Dang.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you heard it here. Skiva said it. And when Skiva says things, I don't know. I guess people pay attention. You got a whole bunch of retweets on your in your Vision Pro stuff, but we'll get into that.
90,000 views or something.
We'll get into that in a minute. Let's bring on today's guest.
Cool.
You know, it's cool talking about South by and talking about Austin because that's actually where I met today's guest. Was hanging out in Austin last year for South by Southwest. We ended up across each other at this like weird vegan lunch that you made me go to, which I'll never do again in Texas.
That's not the place to eat plant-based. That's for sure.
That was messed up. But anyway, you know, the homie is a VR content creator. He's crushing it on TikTok, and now we're seeing him all over the place. So we had to have him on. Everybody, please welcome to Between Realities, Justin Wiebe VR. What's up, dude?
Yellow. How's it going, you guys?
Hey, what's up, man?
Great.
What's going on?
Was it Texas that you met? I thought it was in Florida.
No, Florida was immediately after Texas.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but you were also let's put it out there. You were in Austin, and that's why you're eating vegan food in Texas. Austin. So this is where I'm at. Me and my wife have lived here for about a year, so it's definitely
in Austin. You live in Austin?
In Austin, yeah, I'm in Austin.
Dude.
Yeah. So this year I'm actually doing South by, like, hopefully correctly, you know, like going to all the stuff. We just stumbled upon each other because I think some people were going out to eat. So I was like, well, why not come along? So yeah. And then we continue. We went to Ghost of the Boar launch together, and it was really fun. So we had a lot of fun with Techman. So
Dude, hell yeah.
Turbo.
That's what it's all about, man. Like, that's why we go to these things, because like that's the definition of networking, you know, like you go and like your network weaves with your buddies, and then before you know it, you have a new friend, and now like they show up on your podcast a year later. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty great.
Yeah. And I feel like the VR space also, it's funny because it almost feels really, really tight knit, and it is in some places. And I feel like the circles that we run with, it's like, everyone is super accepting. Everybody is like super encouraging, and we all get along. And then it's funny because I feel like there's more and more parts though that I find. Like I found some people on the VR side of things, like this, I don't know if you guys know who the boys are. It's like Josh.
Oh yeah, Josh Dub,
and like and I'm like, I don't know how I was in the VR space, and I've seen their things around, but I didn't know there's like, wow, that's like 5 people that are enormous, you know, like a 10 million subscriber. And I'm like, how did I not know about like this is a force in it? So I feel like I continue to find more and more like niche communities.
I think it's because of the networking thing. Like we were just saying, like those guys are like, yo, we've got our channels, we're good. We've got our homies, like we don't need anybody else. We're not networking with anybody. Like we're doing our own thing. Like I've never seen them at a conference or anything. Like if they came to something, we would have met them.
Well, I don't necessarily think they're into the tech. Like they use VR to perform. You know what I mean? They do skits. They're just stupid funny.
Yeah, if you've never checked them out, you should definitely go see it because they are some of like the most popular VR content creators out there, even though like, you know, we don't see them in the circles that we run, like you said. But you know,
I think that is the big difference, and I think it's hard for to kind of pick a niche, you know, if you are getting into content creation, is like, do you want to be more on like the educational side a little bit? And I would say most everything is still entertainment, no matter how it is, even if it is sort of educational. And I feel like there's people who really do care about the tech, and like that's what they go for, but that's almost always going to be a smaller niche than just an overarching entertainment gaming platform like they do. So it is very hard because I think those people, it's like, I don't want to speak for them, but it's like a lot of people could care less about what headset's coming out. It's just like, can I play this game? Can I have fun with my friends? And as long as that works on this headset, I'm going to use that. You know, I don't care about the, you know, how big the IPD range is or the resolution or how good the pass through is, you know. It just doesn't matter to a lot of people.
I wish I could.
Some of us, it does.
I wish I could understand that. Like, I'm so obsessed with technology and all the specs and all the hardware and all of that stuff that I simply can't relate. Do you know what I mean?
I totally can.
I know you can. I know. But like, I need to know all that. That's the stuff that keeps me going. I'm like a sponge. I just want to eat it all up and suck it all up. Like, I mean, just love that
it's
stuff.
amazing. But like, you know, when I think about VR, those things are more relevant to me because I do think that the specs when you're talking about VR tech matter more at risk of saying a weird blanket statement. Because like when I think about the difference between my PlayStation and my Xbox, the difference is the community, right? Like it's like they're basically the same machine. They're doing the same thing. This one has some exclusives. This one has some exclusives. Which one are my homies on? You know, like those are the way that's how I'm making that decision. I'm not thinking about the specs of a PlayStation or the specs of an Xbox. I just know this is the one to get. It's either this or this, you know? So I feel like VR users, to Weeb's point, is probably a lot of that. You know, it's just like, yo, is this the headset that I get? Okay, cool. I got it. Moving on.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like it's funny because I think it's the same way in business. Is like, you think of, you know, not to bring up Apple prematurely here, but, you know, like a Steve Jobs and a Wozniak, it's like you have the person who really cares about like making sure the product is really good, because without a good product, you can't really market anything or have like the entertaining parts of it. So it's like a lot of those people that are huge YouTubers that do go in and do a fun game on VR, just generally people who don't care about the tech, but like want to play a cool game or have a cool experience. It's like those people are benefiting from the nerds and, you know, behind the scenes. But at the end of the day is like, you need both. You need both the like technical aspect and then the reach of something that's entertaining. Because it is, the tough part about it is like a Josh Dub or like the person in I'll shout him out here is like Mac Falcon is someone that I kind of like talk to regularly about content, where he's on TikTok and he is making mostly like entertainment, like hilarious, you know, club simulator or bartender or whatever it is. And I'm like, at the end of the day, he's going to sell more Quest 3s than someone who's just like, here's the exact resolution of this.
Right.
That's going to sell. Some people need to know those figures before they buy anything. But at the end of the day, he's getting exposure out there. You know, millions of people are like, oh my gosh, that looks so much fun. I just need to get one. That's what's going to sell it. Right. Yeah. But if you get it and then it's a terrible experience and the hardware isn't good, they're going to return it. So it's like a very balanced relationship that you have to have, I think, when developing the products and then marketing them. So,
well, you've been successful on TikTok. You know, at the current time, you've got over 300,000 followers on TikTok. You have millions and millions of views. You know, like I saw there's multiple TikToks that have over 10 million views on them each. Yeah. So why don't you speak a little bit to your approach? Like how much entertainment and how much, education are you providing through this? And like, were you thinking about these things before you started content creation, or did you just kind of start doing what you want?
Yeah. Well, I'll answer the first part just quickly, and then I can kind of go back and tell the story. But the way that I think about it is like definitely just trying out different things. I try out kind of doing the entertainment stuff or trying to do, hey, here's the specific specs. And each are kind of tailored to maybe a different audience, and it eventually reaches the right people, through the algorithm. So it's like some stuff does well, some stuff doesn't. I think a lot of times something that meets right in the middle, that's like a novel thing in tech that's like no one has ever seen it. Those things that are like semi-educational about like what is going on in the like tech world right now, but is also a clearly like, wow, that's really interesting, or like that's really entertaining. I think hitting both of those things has been where I've seen like success. I think it is hard though, because I think a lot of people in the VR space, until it becomes like super mainstream. Well, I'll finish my thought is until it becomes super mainstream, it's like how much exposure really can you have, consistently over a long basis. I will say though, it's interesting because I've been thinking a lot about this and branding and, where do I position myself for the next, you can't really think really 5 years out in VR a lot of times, but it's like, where am I kind of going with my content in general, and just business. And I think the tough part about it is a lot of people that are in VR that's making just VR specific, content, especially if you're just like, I only do meta, I only do, Quest specific things. As more players get into the space from like a manufacturing standpoint, and it becomes more mainstream, where like the Apple Vision Pro has to be like the thing that's been covered the most ever, probably in VR from the amount of people.
Without a doubt.
Exactly. Yeah. And you see that all of the people that maybe do like phone content right now are like, okay, I'm going to do this one Vision Pro video. And imagine, I think all of a lot of the VR community is kind of like, this is the future of computing. This is where we're going. Maybe this is going to replace our phones or be whatever the next thing is. The thing is, those people that are already doing the phones right now, those people are just going to come in and transform into whatever the current thing is. So I think the point is to just be on your feet and not be super tied down to like one specific thing in the market right now, or one specific vision of the future, one specific product. And that's what I mean. For me, I think Meta's doing an incredible job, and I really think the Quest 3 is incredible. But again, I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to try the Vision Pro or whatever, Mm-hmm. I'm agnostic almost to the technology, if that kind of makes sense.
Man, I couldn't agree more with staying agnostic to technology. There's nothing like boxing yourself into something because you feel loyal to a company, when realistically that company doesn't give a crap about you. They don't care if you leave and go off and disappear. Like they genuinely don't care. So why would you stay like loyal to a brand? That's always been weird to me with like PlayStation versus Xbox, Apple versus PC. Like people identify with the things that they like. Boom. And that's bizarre to me.
That's
like,
the thing.
Why do you want to identify with the brand? I don't know.
It's easier than struggling with the the desire to like figure out who you are. Like it's so much easier to say like, hey, I'm a PlayStation guy. That's all there is to it. I can sink into that. I can find other people who say the same dumb thing that like we can like band together. And like protect our PlayStation perspective. You
know what I identify with? What's the best?
I identify with being the best.
No, not being the best. Like, what's the best thing? I'll bounce around from platform to platform. I'll switch back and forth between Apple and Android. I have before. I recently tried. It didn't work out for me because it wasn't the best. But I will not stick with whatever is what I am used to if there's a better solution out there. And I the only way to know is to go try it all, use it all, see what everything's like, have a real objective opinion on some of this stuff because you've been able to use it, touch it, try it. You know, that's one of the great things about going to these expos and shows too, right? You get to like touch everything and try everything. And you know, was
Quest your first VR platform, Justin?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess maybe to go back and like tell kind of the story of how I got started with VR. So initially it was either late 2016 or early 2017. I don't know what possessed myself to buy it was a Oculus Rift, and I had just built my PC. I think I was like a freshman in college at that point, and it was just like, oh, this looks really cool, and I have the PC to run it, so why not buy it? And I got it. It shipped to me, and I just remember trying out, funny games like Drunken Bar Fight was one I remember. Nice. And just there's just, you know how it is when you get like a new system, you don't want to pay for anything on it. You're just like, let me download every single free game on this thing. So, I had like a skee ball game and like, some of the main ones that were out, obviously, like Beat Saber and Super Hot and things like that. I guess technically before that, I did have the like $20 thing from Amazon that you would throw your, phone into. It wasn't Google Cardboard technically.
The Gear.
It wasn't that either because I had an iPhone at the time. Right? Because Samsung Gear would have had specifically with a Samsung, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Probably. So I just had like literally like you would watch YouTube videos that would just be split down the middle to give you a stereoscopic view of it. So that was technically the first. But at that point, that was never going to be like a career option for me by any means. I was going to school in Nebraska, went to University of Nebraska and got a finance degree. So originally I was going to be like a financial advisor, work with you on your retirement and all that good stuff. And I think the reason I didn't necessarily go into that path was because I think I found out I care more about like business than I do about that specific mode of going about a career. And then I did sales for a while, 2 years out of college. And then after I was done with that, I had just gotten married to my wife, and it was about time where I was like, I think I'm done kind of with the sales gig that I have. Where do I want to, essentially take my career? And I remember me and my wife were soft flex here, but we were in Guatemala on our honeymoon. And it was funny. It was right when Meta had announced that instead of being Facebook, they were going to be Meta. And I had a Quest 2 at that point. Someone was like, you got to buy this. I was like, okay. And so I was into it and I had it. But when they changed the name and were like, I essentially heard Mark Zuckerberg on that talk or in a podcast say, we know that what we're doing with the metaverse or with VR, with Oculus and with Meta is a 10-year vision. And we're not going to be able to accomplish, these huge feats in the first year or two. But what we're doing with changing our name to Meta is we're putting down a flag down in the soil saying this is where we're going. And if you want to be part of essentially that movement or, this trajectory that we're on and building this technology and building out this industry, this is us putting that flag in the ground right now saying, we're forward on, again, the term was metaverse, and I'm okay with that. The crypto bros kind of took it from us, but and besmirched
Damn
the
you
name.
crypto bros.
But we're not. Yeah, let's not even get into that. But at the time, it was like, hey, we're going towards this metaverse, or again, we could call it tons of names now. Spatial computing.
That's the new one.
And so I was like, wow, that is like. Totally makes sense, because in my mind I'm like, we spend so much money upgrading our desktops and our laptops and our phones and our TVs and like all these screens and technologies that we have in our lives, and I'm like, it just makes sense that there's going to be something beyond the phone. It would be, in my mind, it would be very naive to think like we've reached the apex. The iPhone, 15 is it. Mm-hmm. It's like there's going to be something beyond this that we're going to find. And So kind of that all culminated in 2021. I'm pretty sure all that was going. Yeah, 2021, right at the end of 2021 in October, and I was like, okay, I want to kind of pursue this. At first, it was like, what do I do? I think maybe a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of viewers are like not even in the space, but are just interested in VR. I was kind of in that spot where I was like, don't have any VR background, don't have any tech background. What do I possibly do? The first thing that I kind of looked into doing was like coding. And I think that's an awesome way for people to get into VR, whether being a game dev. There's so much opportunity right now. I mean, like, we're going to talk about the Vision Pro, I'm sure, but that thing needs more apps, man. Like, if you make an app and you charge me $4.99 and it's a good app, I'll give you my $5,
Agreed.
And, maybe 100,000 other people maybe will too, that have this thing. So the money's out there for that. But for me, coding has always been a very uphill battle. Figuring out just the basics have been fun, but I was like just sitting and like, I think the thing for me is when I have like an error or like an encoding, or like for me, like I'm an equipment nerd. So like when one piece of equipment is not working right, I stop everything that I do and I'll spend, like an hour or two fixing this one audio issue or lighting issue. And what I need to do is just move on. I shouldn't do that. So I think coding's that way for me, that it's like, I would just get so frustrated over errors or whatever. So anyways, all that to say, I was like, okay, maybe this is not the right path for me. And with everything changing with Meta, I was like, I should go into what is termed the metaverse for Meta, which was Horizon Worlds. And I have met a lot of really cool people through there. And that's originally how I blew up on TikTok. I had made some TikToks before, kind of some personal finance stuff, obviously with my finance degree, but nothing was really big. But I was like, I should just record inside of Horizon Worlds and see if anything happens and edit that down into a video and throw that out there. So I went in, and a lot of people have seen this. I think it's still pinned on the top of my profile, is my conversation with Peanut777. I just jumped in there, and it was just a random person that was in the main area. And I just walked up and I was like, hey, Peanut, what do you think about the metaverse? And he's like, oh man, I don't know. I don't believe like cool, but I don't think people are actually going to like make money or live in this thing. And right beside him is like a Meta employee that has been sitting, that essentially watches over the lobby and answers questions. And I'm like, he's making money in here right now. And he's like, what? And like freaks out over it, because it's like, it's a novel concept for almost everybody, that someone just sitting on a VR headset, hanging out and being a community guide on Horizon Worlds, that's like a full-time job. And so his reaction, I think, was like a lot of people at that time, which is like, wow, that's crazy that that's possible. And just a lot of interest and curiosity around it. And Peanut's a very like expressive guy. So I think there is some pull to his personality. So that video, like you said, is like one of a few videos that I have that have over like 10 million views on TikTok. And I was just like, oh man, I need to like start posting more. So I did more videos with Peanut, and it was right during 2021, which was like, it was interesting. The pandemic, it seemed like, really pushed VR a lot, but I think the sales of the Quest 2 in 2021 were a lot bigger than even 2020 was. So it was a huge boom. And so I just made a lot of content about what are the best Quest games, free games, what's going on, just covering like everything going on with the Quest, essentially. So that was great. I forget kind of the numbers, but I was growing really fast. To me, it was like, hitting 30,000 followers or whatever. I'm like, oh my God, like this is something.
That's sick.
And
30,000 is sick. I mean, it's 10% of 300, but it's still really good. And were you like already were you like using TikTok regularly? Like, I'm on here, I'm scrolling, like I enjoy the platform and therefore I'm going to contribute to it? Or was it like, TikTok is where it's popular, that's where it's popping, like that's why I'm going to go to this platform?
I think I was using TikTok pretty regularly. Yeah, I definitely use TikTok a lot. So and was at that point. I think at that point, I'm trying to even remember if I know YouTube Shorts was not a thing, and Instagram Reels maybe was a thing in 2021. But it wasn't well known. It essentially, like, the discoverability on TikTok, especially at that time, was just like exceptionally high. Again, it's like, it still is that way. Again, if anybody is trying to become a content creator, I think starting with short form and growing at least some kind of audience and finding a niche through that is probably the best way to go about doing it. And yeah, so I was just like, wow, you can. I had one video back when GameStop was like blowing up. I was like making like finance videos about that. So that was the first time like a video got like 6,000 likes or something. And I was like, wow. So I had experienced, like, you know, no one has no idea who I am. I mean, I'm just making a video. And so I knew TikTok was like that, to your question. So
that's cool. Quickly, I want to say hi to, I don't know if I caught Space Denizen earlier, but I'm going to say hi to him again anyway.
What up, Boyd?
I don't care. You know, Eric from Q2C slid in here.
What's up, Eric?
He's been lighting up the chat.
He has been. And yesterday, he went to Combat Waffle Studios to do the launch day podcast live in the studio for Ghost of Tabor, which was super sick. And I would have been there live had I not been locked in a room with this guy.
Well,
but yeah,
locked in,
caught some afterwards, and it was awesome.
You should have figured that puzzle out faster, bro. Diz the Game Cat's here also. He's chilling, hanging out. You know,
what's up?
Impact Reality is just here. The whole Impact squad is just like flooding the chat. And we've got Shaggy, aka Gunshot Writer, also chilling with us. You know, just hanging out and being a part of the conversation. Yeah. So thanks for being here.
And the homies Tribe Grey Wolf and Kensei VR Gaming. Good to see you guys.
So, I mean, I feel like we were the last people in the world to try Apple Vision Pro.
I know, right?
I feel like everybody got in there and like jumped on it. And I don't know what's wrong with us. Like maybe we just like need to get our priorities straight or something in our lives. But we have now both tried the Apple Vision Pro. Justin, I'm pretty sure you own one, right?
Yeah. I could put it on for you guys, but yes, I do have one. Look,
there it
behold.
is. There it is.
There you go. I would have to get it all hooked up, but yeah,
looks lovely. Looks lovely. So, Skiva, I got to give you the credit where it's due. You put together a pretty awesome tweet, kind of just like summarizing your thoughts. Meanwhile, I'm trying to like tease Between Realities with it. I'm like, hey, if you want to know what I thought of Apple Vision Pro, watch Between Realities. Skiva's like, here's everything.
I couldn't help it, man. You know, I try this stuff and I need to talk about it now. Dude. I literally got out of that demo. I went to my car and I just typed. Like I just had to spew it out before I forgot everything. You know what I mean? Like while it's fresh in your mind, it's just, I don't know. It's just important to put it out there.
Everyone's glad you did because the tweet actually got a lot of traction. Everybody's like, okay, this is a really balanced perspective. And I agreed with it. I retweeted it right away. It doesn't even matter that it was you. I was just like, okay, yeah, this is doing a pretty good job of hitting it. So maybe a good place to start would be to pull that up and then we can kind of just like go through it together and kind of touch on some of the points and we can all kind of like weigh in on it because we definitely have thoughts about Apple Vision Pro. I mean, this is it's not the most expensive headset that we've worn, but it should be. You know, like it's extremely expensive, and while we've used things that are pricier, it's hard to say that anything I've ever used is quite as impressive as some of the things that I experienced while I was wearing this headset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Skiva, I guess we'll kind of just like take a look at your tweet here together. You know, you basically say you had 45 minutes with the headset, which is cool. I think that's more than most people typically get.
Yeah, well, you know, I want to say too that they gave me pretty much unlimited time with it. They're like, sit here all night until we close if you want, right? And awesome. After 45 minutes, I was like, I think I'm done.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, granted, there's only so much they really
exactly, because I couldn't go in. I want to say I couldn't go in and like sign into my YouTube, go on the App Store and start downloading things. Like I played with just about everything that, you know, was default on the headset, and a lot of it just didn't take that much time. And I'm not going to sit there and watch an entire movie in the Apple Store. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So, you know, so it was definitely limited what I was able, even with free reign over the thing, what I was able to do. Mm-hmm. And after 45 minutes, I was pretty much done. You know, So, I don't know where you want to start here.
We'll take it from the top. We'll take it from the top. So you said that the first impression that you had was looking through the pass-through and being immediately disappointed.
Yeah. So, I felt like the bump up from the Quest 3 and pass-through was like the Quest Pro to the Quest 3. I guess I was just expecting with everyone's reactions that it was going to be a lot closer to kind of, just almost real life looking through the headset, right? I mean, when Apple comes out with something, they put a lot behind it. They put a lot of money, a lot of research and development. And I guess I thought that maybe it would be even higher quality. I understand there's technical issues with doing that and latency and all of these things. And the more bandwidth they push through in resolution, the harder that stuff is. But lo and behold, I was disappointed.
Don't cut him any slack, dude, because I have, even people who we really trust and admire, like Hamilton, saying like, yo, this is like looking through glass. So my expectations were way up. And I got to be honest, I feel exactly like you. That is the first thing I noticed. I saw the pass through and I was like, I was kind of expecting the colors to be more vivid. I was expecting the to be less blur as I turn my head left and right. It is better than the Quest 3, which is really good. Like the Quest 3 pass through, I love. It's way easier to read your phone on the Apple Vision Pro. Like for sure, text through those pass throughs is very clean. But I was slightly disappointed by the pass through effect as well myself. Weebs, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I talked to some other like tech content creators that kind of had a similar viewpoint on it. That just felt like, especially from the Quest 3, it's a step up. Again, I feel like you guys kind of nailed it. Is like it's definitely a step up, but it's not like looking through glass. It's not like you're seeing exactly it. It'll be interesting to see how the tech evolves, because at the end of the day, it's always cameras. So things like LED lights always kind of flicker through. Looking at other screens have kind of a different, again, it just kind of has a blur or something, aberration to it that just kind of looks wrong. I think, though, the first thing, I don't think it holds the headset back by any means. So I think you could sit here and be like, was it a little bit of, I don't even know if you'd say false advertising. I just feel like the people who covered it maybe were not super accustomed to what is on the market right now from the Quest 3. And when you do put it on, if you've never used a VR headset or very limited, you're going to be very impressed by it. And it works for nearly everything, like what pass-through needs to work. So I'm kind of in the middle on that,
Yeah, you're really not wrong there, because I feel that way about the Quest 3 pass-through. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, okay, hell yeah, this is good. Like this makes it easier to use VR. This makes it easier to get in and out of applications, So for this being better, which it is, huge, right? But is it $5,000 better? No. I was really expecting it to be more clear. But that being said, your next point on the
but wait, before we move on, I want to say I missed one thing that I really wish I had put before the pass-through thing. Is that because obviously before I put this thing on my face, I picked it up. Yeah. Right, and I touched it, and it felt super premium. Like this thing felt like a legit headset. It was solid. It was like, it just feels really, really good. Like this is, a quality. It just feels quality.
It's right? Apple, bro. It feels like you're picking up an Apple device.
Oh, it does.
It really does.
It does. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And in the strap, I gotta say, it's pretty damn comfortable. Like it feels nice and soft. The elasticity is like generous. It doesn't feel like. It's like sometimes they claim elastic and then it's like almost no give. Like there's actually some good give, but without lacking tension, So like I had my demo was probably 35 minutes or so, maybe 40. And I was not in a hurry to take it off, which I think is a good thing. Now, granted, I didn't wear it for 2 hours.
Are you talking, which strap are you talking about?
The OG back around the back.
No, over the head. Because that's the one I have on is even more like the dual band versus the like one band or whatever they call it. And I think that's the interesting part about this is like going back to the reviews of people, because most of the people that got this were general tech reviewers like a week ahead of time. And that's where a lot of the hype came, and a lot of these like CNET people and The Verge and things like that, which those people really do know the tech still. But I felt like it kind of skewed compared to the VR community, where it was like the pass through to them was incredible. But to us, it's like, it's a step up, but nothing huge. And then they were like, the comfort is awful. Like, it's so heavy. It doesn't feel very good. Yeah. But then to us, it's kind of like, it's a VR headset. Yeah. I mean, like, there's not much you can do about it to a certain extent. So I think that's kind of the difference that again, us and, you know, specifically VR are, we're differing on than those big like outlets.
Every time I get a VR headset, especially from Meta, and the thing comes with that rubber band strap, it is immediately the most uncomfortable headset I've ever worn, right? Like, until I put a good head strap on that thing and it becomes comfortable, like the Quest 3 and the Quest 2. The Quest 2 was pretty much unbearable with the default head strap.
Unwearable.
Cannot wear it. I feel like it was the Apple Vision Pro was comparable to how the Quest 3 feels with the stock strap. But if you were to put like a Bobo strap on there or a Kiwi strap, you know, my Quest 3 is now ridiculously comfortable, and the same thing would happen to the Apple Vision Pro. You put like a Bobo head strap on that thing, it'll be phenomenal. It'll be absolutely phenomenal.
I'm saying this is more comfortable than the Quest 3 out of the box. Personally.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, then the Quest 3. The Quest 3 is, I don't know.
Those straps are just regular ass straps. They're just like normal backpack straps, and like this is like perfectly designed.
Yeah,
for this, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I mean, I felt like it was pretty comparable. The actual strap in the back was definitely really nice and smushy, and you know,
that is where I felt the weight, by the way.
But the facial interface digging into my face because of the weight is kind of what I'm talking about with the comfort, right? And it's the same thing with the Quest headsets. When you put it on, because there's no counterbalance, because there's no hard rigid strap, unfortunately it sits on your face, and that's just kind of how it's propped up, right?
I was feeling it back here. Like when I was taking it off, like my pressure was like on like the left and right side of my crown, like at the top of my neck on both sides.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I mean, maybe I like tightened it down harder than you did. Like,
probably.
You know,
I ended up tightening mine down a little because I really was just playing with the tightening mechanism, and then like maybe 30% through my demo, I loosened it. I just
So listen, I want to shift into the next point, because so far we're kind of like, there's not really all the hype is worth it. That's not to say that this thing isn't worth the hype, because it actually is. It was extremely impressive. And your next point on your tweet basically says that your second thought after entering the fully immersive environment was that these are the best screens you've ever seen on any headset ever.
Dude, undeniable that the clarity and the resolution, the vibrancy of the colors, that blew me away. I mean, maybe the Vario comes close, like maybe the XR3 or the XR4, maybe, but I don't know, dude. I think this was the best.
It's so much bigger. Like
it is.
Maybe it does deliver something somewhat comparable, but the fact that you're seeing that kind of clarity with that comfort, that form factor,
and standalone.
It's standalone.
Dude, it was absolutely gorgeous. The picture was just amazing. Mm-hmm. It was absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you have to say about the screens, Weebs?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, as soon as you put it on, it is, the environments. I've demoed it to a bunch of people who've come over, and I think it's a good enough demo just to get them in. And then it's really cool to be like, okay, you feel this little, digital crown up here, just scroll that, and it'll just envelop you in this like incredible scene on top of a mountain or by a lake. And I feel like everybody that does it is like, oh my God, it looks real. Like a bunch of people have said that to me that have tried the headset. And I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but the one caveat to that is the FOV in my mind. Is that in this tweet?
Oh, for sure. Yes, it is. It's further down in the tweet that I felt a little bit like I was looking through binoculars. The FOV is definitely smaller than the Quest 3 and the Quest 2.
I think that's probably, in my opinion, if you take away the lack of maybe apps and controllers, in my opinion, for like gaming and things like that, I think the FOV is one of the things that's kind of limiting on this. I think that it would be a lot more impressive when you put on the headset just to have a little bit more. And you could tell as soon as I opened the box with it, I was like, oh, interesting. The lens, just like I could even show, well, we'll see how well I'm going to be able to show like how big the Quest 3's lenses are compared. I don't know if this is really showing up very well, but the Quest 3's lenses are just so much bigger, and it amounts to a lot better FOV in it, you know. So 100%.
For sure. I do really like that when you put it on, you like hold down the digital crown at the top, and it checks your eyes, and it moves each individual eye directly to the center of your eye. Therefore, you're getting the clearest picture, and the eye tracking is able to work the best.
Poor Brandon VR in the chat says he drove 30 miles to be told his prescription's too high.
Yeah, my prescription didn't work either.
That sucks. But you're like, screw it. I'm going.
Oh yeah, of course. I was like, I'm gonna do it anyway, of course.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, the screen's still phenomenal. But
so another thing worth mentioning too is at the beginning of this experience, they have you go through the headset calibration, and it's pretty smooth for the most part. If you've ever done the eye tracking calibration on the PlayStation VR 2, it's basically the same thing. It's
almost identical.
Yeah, basically the same thing. You just like glance at some dots, and then they actually do a hand calibration, which I think is really awesome. You know, you hold your hands up, it like scans your hands, like figures out how big they are or whatever, and then like you're good to go, because the hand tracking, we're just jumping on all over at this point, but the hand tracking, in my opinion, extremely good, especially the gestures, man. Like basically you're only doing a couple of gestures in the Apple Vision Pro. You're pinching, and you're either sliding left or right or up or down, you know, maybe a double pinch or something, but it's all basically pinches. And I'm honestly a little bit annoyed by all the viral content that I see, like people pretending to do the gestures while they're walking across the street, shit like that. Like it's kind of giving it a bad name, making it look a little ridiculous. I understand why you're doing it. It gets clicks and all of that, whatever, but realistically,
you cannot pin a window to your face. Once you put a window somewhere, if you start walking, it's staying where it is, and you're leaving it behind. Just like if you put down your computer and you leave, it's not following you. For some reason, Apple decided to not be able to pin these windows to your face, which is insane to me. If I'm on a FaceTime call and I want to be able to just walk right over there and grab my water or something, why isn't that coming with me? Why do I have real life physical restraints inside of an XR headset? That is crazy to me.
I feel like they gotta add that functionality at some point.
I feel like they probably are trying to keep you in one spot. They are trying to make it so you do not want to move, right? Because then people will be walking around, they'll be in the virtual environment or something, and they'll be walking into walls, or who knows what they'll be doing. But man,
I think it's a lot higher level, honestly, than that. And I don't know if I can fully articulate exactly what Apple's going for, but I watched this whole thing about how the FaceTime works, and I'm guessing you guys didn't get to do that. That's like it's very interesting, kind of weird, it's a little off. It's very beta feeling, that's for sure. And when you're doing the FaceTime, what's really interesting is if I have the window and it's right here and I'm FaceTiming somebody, if I do this, right, it obviously could just have my face in the middle no matter what, but it actually shows as if that window is the camera. I will actually go off frame. And I could walk all the way over to the kitchen or whatnot, and the window would stay right here as if that is like my phone or whatever. And so I think the whole idea of like spatial computing is like, I don't think they would limit the functionality of maybe pinning something, you know, to your, like a HUD of some sort in the future. But I think the idea is like you're able to pin things in space. And maybe in the future, you know, everything is, you know, a little dystopian here, but it's like everything is scanned. Everything has a specific point in space. And that specific point in space, you can pin things to. There's a whole layer of reality right? That we have.
That's a concept that I think is a little like more relatable, a little more human, and a little easier for people to wrap their heads around than a window that is stuck to them, that they like walk around like a HUD, right? Like they have a TV in their space, so they're used to that, like things occupying space. We're so used to the way VR has been over the years that we almost expect something.
Well,
like a HUD.
yeah, but I mean, so like here's just an example. I'm in Resonate, right? And I put a window somewhere and I'm working on things. I have a video screen going on here. I have a computer screen here, and I'm like building things in the world. When I need to go over there, I hit the little pin button, and all of a sudden now it's stuck to my face and I can walk around. When I get to where I'm going, I can unpin it, and now it'll stay where I left it, right? Yeah. I feel like this should be a pretty standard thing. Like if I want to pop up a video and I go to walk, maybe have it come down to the corner so it's not obstructing my view or something like that for safety if you want to. But don't make me like pinch it and hold it while I walk around. It's so dumb.
Apple, baby. You don't get to do everything.
No, you don't. You don't. You do what they say.
Saying hi to Qcreator. What's up, baby? Good to see you. The weekend's here. Saying hi to Paradise Decay. He just cruised in.
What's up, Petey?
Kyle from Field to Render dropping $10 on us. Supporting the cause, baby.
Heck
Dude,
yeah.
Oh, wait a second.
No, top right. Top right.
There we go.
There it is. You guys forgot I had these buttons.
Very negative sounds. There's 3 negative sounds in a row for that.
You guys forgot I could do that, huh? I've got powers over here to make things happen.
Oh my God, that's funny.
So these are all good points. I want to bring it back. Go.
Oh, and I guess I don't know if this is kind of where you're gonna go. I think we're a little dogging on UX kind of in that, essentially, which is just like how the interface is set up and how you interact with it. Despite that one specific thing, right, which is pinning windows, I think, in my opinion, other than just like obviously the hardware things that we've talked about so far, it is probably the most defining part of this headset for me, and what I believe is probably going to be the lasting impact of this specific product, which is the way that you interact with it and like the ease of use that Apple is, known for. I mean, it is known that like the innovative things that Apple does usually does not have to do with the screen resolution, the refresh rate, the computing power. Obviously, there is some places that they do dominate in, even outside of this VR product. But it's the ease of use. It's that anybody who uses their products can figure out how they work within a few minutes, and it just becomes so natural. And that's how I feel about what we were talking about with hand tracking and the eye tracking. Amen. I think what makes this so different than Quest is hand tracking in the Quest is kind of a second thought. They develop it and there's experiences for it, but it's definitely when Meta is thinking about how do we design the UX and the software that goes into this. It's like, how does our controllers work inside of this environment? And this is where we were kind of talking about the limitations of like where you put the windows and things like that. I think there's a conceptual level that Apple has come to about how do we create this product, and they create limitations for themselves. They could have controllers if they wanted to, but they say this headset will not have controllers. So what does it look like in a world where there's no controllers? And I think they've come up with the best system for controlling with your hands to date. Even so much as when I was in the Quest 3, I was looking at something and going, oh, wait, oh, shoot, that's like not how that's not how I do it. So I had to totally switch.
If you haven't experienced the combination of quality hand tracking and quality eye tracking as a means to navigate in these experiences, it's really hard to convey how natural and intuitive it is. It feels so damn good just to glance at something and casually pinch my hand. And I have to say this, the gestures track ridiculously well. Like, I was sitting in a chair for my review. I dropped my hand all the way down at my side. All the way down, like full extension hanging at my side, and I'm pinching, and this shit is getting picked up. Yep. I was like blown away. I was like, oh my God, like it is registering my gestures when my hand is practically underneath me. So just by glancing around and just slight pinching, I was cruising through the menus.
Yeah, they position the cameras to look down to try to get your hands no matter where they're going to be, because this system relies on hand tracking, so they can't lose your hands, right? And people have said this a million times, but it is 100% true. This feels like magic. Yeah. You do not need to pick your hand up and do this. You literally just have it sitting on the table or on your lap, and you just close your fingers, and whatever you're looking at is what's happening. You can expand windows, you can make them smaller, you can like look at the little thing to exit, and just like there's you don't have to think about it. It takes about 5 seconds to just understand how this UI works, right? Yep. And that part is awesome. And Apple has always been good at making a UI system that anyone can pick up and use, from little kids to the elderly. Almost anyone can navigate any Apple product, especially iOS and now Vision OS and iPad OS, right? Like they're just really, really good at that.
Dude, I had a wow moment in this demo. Like, oh, did you? A moment that I haven't experienced since like the early days of my VR. And it was as soon as they put me into the fully immersive environment, like, because they start the demo and you're in MR, like you're pinning windows and going through the menus, looking at pictures, looking at spatial stuff, which we'll get into in a second. But then they put you into this fully immersive environment where you're basically sitting in front of a lake, and it's beautiful. The resolution's amazing. The color is amazing. And it looks like a VR game, like a high quality VR game for all intents and purposes. And I noticed out of my peripheral vision at the bottom of the frame what appeared to me to be rendered hands, like in a VR game, because like if you've ever had your controller sitting in your lap, you kind of see how your hands are just kind of like crumbled in a VR game, and there's like sitting down there, and it's only when you pick them up and start moving around that they kind of feel like yours again. I thought I saw like controller hands sitting in my lap, but they weren't. It was a fully cropped version of my real hands in the fully immersive environment. Like, you are in a VR game, but when you pull your hands up, those are your actual hands. They are not rendered. It's not like overlaid like you'll see like in the Quest, for example, when you go into hand tracking, you get that like ghost hand that sits on top of your hand. There's nothing like that. It is your actual hands being like chroma keyed out basically and put into the fully immersive space. And I was blown away by that feeling. It felt insane when I realized that those weren't controllers in my lap, and I pulled my hands up and there they were in the full immersive environment. I had like a freak out moment. I couldn't believe it. It really caught me off guard, and I was testing it by like waving my hand in front of my face really, really fast to see like if I could see the room through the blur, which I could only a little bit if I tried super hard. Otherwise, I was so impressed by how cleanly your hands are cut out and put into the immersive space.
Yeah, for sure. The hand tracking is phenomenal, and the occlusion over the virtual of your actual hands over the virtual world is unlike anything else anyone's ever done before.
Cool.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when they said we were using hands to navigate the system only, they went all in, and they pretty much perfected that. You know what I mean? Better than anyone else has, which is wild because the hand tracking in the Quest has gotten so good. The Quest 3's hand tracking is light years above the Quest 2's. And, a lot of that has to do with LiDAR. And it's the same with the Apple Vision Pro. It has depth sensors and LiDAR sensors and cameras and all of these different ways to tell what your hands are, right? And they nailed it, man. They absolutely nailed it.
They did. So, Justin, do you want to speak to some of your experience with like the spatial video and the spatial photos and stuff? Like, what are your thoughts on the spatial video?
Yeah, I think it's super cool that they're focusing on that. I think one of the things that I was excited about in VR is kind of this idea of like, sometime in the future there's going to be like a box, that maybe you put in your home, and it'll be able to record like an entire experience, fully in 3D. And this is not that, but this is like one step towards that, which is essentially, a technology that has been around for a long time, which is just like taking video in a stereoscopic way, which is just essentially it's taking one camera from one side and one camera from that and taking two pictures and then, you know, projecting those onto your eyes so that it does create some depth. And they are really cool. And I can see why people would want to like kind of relive moments that are taken with that. I think it's great that like the iPhone 15, you can turn it sideways and then turn on the spatial one, so you can still just record with an iPhone. You don't have to like, wait, everybody stop. I need to get my, you know, Vision Pro out and, you know, record this in spatial video or take a photo. I think it's a good step in the right direction. I wonder how many people are really like committing to like recording things in spatial going forward. But to me, it's just like, again, what gets me excited in the space is just like continuing into the future, progressively moving on to the kind of the next technology. And it was like, you know, we had artists drawing on canvases, and then, you know, we have black and white photo, we have colored photo, we have video, you know, and then video itself has so many different dimensions. You know, we're at short form video, long form, yada, yada, yada. So like spatial video in my mind, or some kind of 3D capture of moments, I think is the next like step. So I don't know if I have too much else to say. I think it is really cool to watch those videos. But it does seem like kind of a small part of the overall Vision Pro to me.
Yeah. What do you think, Skiva?
I mean, so I'll say that when I watched these little, the little spatial video 3D depth memory things that they created, they showed me one that was created specifically on the Apple Vision Pro, which looked really good. Then they showed me one that was done on the iPhone 15, which didn't look as good, right? But 3D and depth and all of that stuff is really impressive. I mean, I wish I was blown away by that, but I've been like carrying around a an Insta360 Evo, which does 180 3D and flips to 360 for so long now that like, and watch those things back in VR headsets, you know, for 5 years or something. I don't even know. So like when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool tech from a long time ago. Sweet. Right. You know what I mean? But now it's kind of in the hands of normal everyday people where they can, you know, kind of grab some of these memories and live them back. The magic here is specifically that if you're in the Apple ecosystem and you record these videos and you do these things, they're available everywhere. You don't have to like with me with the Insta360 stuff, I have to plug the camera in. I got to copy it off, make sure I have enough space, you know, then I have to get it to the device I want to watch it on. If you record a video on your phone, it's uploading to the Apple Cloud. It is available in your headset without any effort. And that, I think, really brings it to a whole new layer of people that are not going to do those other things.
Well, here's the other difference too. Like what you're talking about with like traditional VR video capture is still like fully immersive, first person perspective. Like if you're going to view some of that footage that you've taken, you're going to be like fully into this, right? Like that's the only thing that you're able to perceive while you're consuming that content, versus with the spatial video and photos, they like exist within the rest of your UI, you know, like you're like still within your phone technically, like the phone is the Vision Pro, you're like flipping through your album, but each photo that you scroll past has this depth to it, and it exists kind of on its own within your UI. So you're not like sitting inside of the video or photo, you're like viewing it with the depth and the space, almost as if it's a regular picture.
You know, because when you record with those types of cameras, typically when you get that close and when they are engulfing you, you definitely see that the quality as far as the resolution of the cameras capturing two images like that, the resolution just isn't there. So with Apple putting it in a square in front of you, you know, I feel like it looks a lot better.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
And here's the other thing. The videos that they show you during the demo come from mounted devices. So the video with the Vision Pro is like mounted to a stand rather than being worn by someone. And the iPhone is taking video from like a tripod rather than like like you're holding your phone. I have yet to see spatial video or pictures that are taken like from someone who's using the device like it's normally intended to be used, right? Like if you're at your kid's birthday party and you're trying to capture it in spatial video and you're wearing your Vision Pro, now that spatial box that you're looking at is like moving around as if you're in first person still.
But at the same time, so sadly it's Bradley. We had a conversation about the Apple Vision Pro with him on the VR Crewcast, and go back and check it out. But he was in his Apple Vision Pro and he had used some of this feature, and he said that the image stabilization that they're using is absolutely phenomenal. And we've seen, even with the Meta Ray-Bans, that we are getting real good at capturing in a higher resolution, bringing it down, and then having software really stabilize that video far better than we've ever been able to do before. And I do think, Apple is also in that bandwagon. They're going to be able to do exactly that. Brad said it was some of the best image stabilization he has seen as well on his Pro. So, I think they're on that because it's dangerous. You do something like that and you don't do it well, it's going to get you motion sick, and they are really trying to avoid that, right? So they have to have really good image stabilization with their video recording.
Probably another reason why it makes sense to have it appear as like a square within your UI rather than fully putting you into it.
Yeah.
Although you can click a button to like make it huge.
Yes.
So there is that option. You can click the panorama and it's really interesting when you just took the picture looking at something, and then you go in there and then it will replace that exact what you're looking at with the picture. So you could have someone just standing there that it'll look like they're in your space like they were a second ago. I will say that this is, again, just one of those things where it's like the difference between software and hardware right now. It's like I have watched one full movie with the Vision Pro. I watched Inside Out, which great movie, and it was great in like 3D. And it almost became like natural, like halfway through the movie, that it was like, it's just like there's layers on, like I can see into this. And I think it really does enhance the viewing experience. I think it's way better than seeing like a 3D movie at like the theater. I don't know what makes it so different, but it feels way more natural in the VR headset. And again, it's just like, if we all committed to taking, like I was just thinking right now as I look at you guys on my screen, I think it would be cool if there was depth layered onto the screen that I'm seeing right here. I might feel more like I'm right there with you guys. But again, it's just going to be a thing where it's like the hardware is out there. If you guys wanted to like record, it's hard. I mean, it's out there that you guys could record this and put it up somewhere that could be viewed in the Vision Pro with depth. But it's like, what's the point of getting all of that hardware that's already there? And then is there software that you can put, or content that is? It reminds me of when we were all in Vegas. I went to see the Sphere, which was like one of the most mind-blowing experiences ever. If you guys haven't been to the Sphere, anybody that's watching, like, you gotta go see it. And I watched the Postcard from Earth movie they had, and what I thought was like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest movie theater / like content watching experience in the world right here. But they had to think so far in advance about like, what is it that we want to show you? We got to get out these incredible, like, I think they were like 16K cameras, or 4K times 4, whatever it was, to capture such a huge thing. And I think that's the same thing with like Vision Pro content and things like that. As we have this hardware, is like, you need to go out and have like really, really high definition cameras, stereoscopically recorded. And that's hard to like create that content. Because I went in, I watched some like 3D content, and I was like, since the Vision Pro's resolution is so good, I was like, this feels like it's in like 1080p, only like blown up. And that was even like I don't remember what it was, like the Apple TV, like the dinosaur one, not the like app that's on there, but there was a dinosaur one in Apple TV. And I was like, it's pretty good, but the environment that you get put in the Vision Pro, like the home environments, if everything looked like that all the time, I mean, just imagine if you could fly from that home environment. from the top of that mountain, oh my gosh, it would just be crazy.
Well, I really like the comparison that you made to 3D movies, because I actually personally love 3D movies. Like every 3D movie I've ever seen, I thought was great. Not necessarily the movie, but like just the depth, and you're like, I don't know what makes it so different. But I think you do when you're talking about the resolution. Like a 3D movie, they give you these like plastic lenses to look through, and you're looking at a projected image. Like that resolution's garbage, like you're looking through a barely clear piece of film, and then you're looking at a light projected image on the screen. Like when I was watching the Super Mario Brothers movie, not in the headset, like in the theaters, I was thinking to myself, I can't wait to watch this on my TV at home, because I want to see like a high refresh rate, like clean images. Like every time there's a high action scene, I felt like it was just a big blurry mess on the screen. So I was actually kind of stoked that they had the Super Mario Brothers movie in 3D in the Apple Vision Pro for the demo. And I have to be honest, while I do think I would prefer to watch it like that over with the regular 3D glasses in a theater, I wasn't that impressed. Like I still felt like the image was a little blurry when like there's high action scenes and stuff, and like I was expecting more from a 3D movie in that headset.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely prefer 3D in VR over the theater experience for sure. Even in here, but where this really shines is the standard regular movies, right? Not in 3D, on a massive screen with the Vision Pro's displays and the lenses, and it just looks absolutely phenomenal. It looks better than it does on my TV. It looks better than in anything else. But, with a huge but, to me, I only watch movies in two scenarios. One, I'm on an airplane and I'm trying to pass the time in an international flight or something, right? And two, I am sharing that experience with someone else. That is mission critical, right? So I would rather go into my Quest and go into big screen where I can have another friend, 10 other friends with me experiencing that movie, where we can pause it and laugh or like throw a tomato at each other or something like that, you know what I mean? Then I would have this crystal clear, absolutely amazing picture that only I can experience. And that is huge. And maybe eventually big screen will get on there or something. I don't know, but it is absolutely imperative to me that I am able to watch a movie with someone else and not alone. So while it is cool, and I would probably use this to watch movies on an airplane, that would be the only time.
Yeah,
but it is the best. That is the best looking screen I've ever seen in VR, though. Like putting a movie and blowing it up huge, I mean, just blows away every screen I have in this house, for sure.
So in an effort to start to wrap this up, kind of, where you end up leaving your tweet, you basically say, you do say specifically here, I'm going to quote you on your own podcast. You say the initial wow of, you say, it seems like this is an iPhone or an iPad for your face. If you're a gamer or a fan of immersive environments, the value you get from a $500 Quest 3 far surpasses the Apple Vision Pro. But if you work in XR, you consume movies, TV shows, and videos and photos, and there's simply no better way to do it than the Apple Vision Pro.
Yes.
That sounds like you still agree with your own statements.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Me personally, I am not in Apple's ecosystem. I do not have all of my photos up in their cloud. I do not purchase all my movies on Apple TV and through the iTunes store. I don't have all of this stuff on there. I have a little bit on there from the time I have spent in their ecosystem. So I don't have all of this stuff readily available for me to watch and consume. But either way, it is literally like an iPad on your face. It is limited to those types of apps and experiences, except for some things, right? You get synth riders in there and some other cool things. And but right now, and I know this will change, right now it is really... I mean, look at your phone and imagine that floating in space, right? I mean, it's kind of, if you're an iPhone user, and that's kind of what you're getting. If I go into my Quest, I have a zillion games I can play. I can go into social experiences and kind of cut out like real life space and get and hang out with someone that may be across the country or the other side of the world and feel like I'm sharing that space with them. I can go into a movie theater and watch movies with them. I can go and participate in really good first-person shooters and strategy games and all of these things. There's so many things I can do, but I can't do any of that in the Apple Vision Pro. What I can do is I can put up screens, I can multitask at work, right? I can be productive. I can have Discord open here, I can have a web browser here, I can work on a document here, all alone. Everything pretty much alone, and it is a monitor replacement is really what it is. I get way more value out of my $500 Quest than I could ever get with the Apple Vision Pro in its current state right now. There will eventually be all kinds of apps for this thing, and it will change.
Doesn't necessarily mean the value will be there, though, right? Like
it doesn't, but
may not.
It doesn't. I mean, it's going to be tough because you're asking 7 times the amount of money than a Quest, and that's just for the base model without including tax. You could buy 7 Quest 3s and you could give them to all of your friends and mail them to your family across the country and all meet up together and do things that mean something. Or if you are an avid worker and you're a workaholic and you want to be able to multitask, well, you can do so very well in the Apple Vision Pro, and it'll look phenomenal.
Weebs, are you getting any value out of that thing?
I am in the Apple ecosystem, so I guess there is something to say about that. But I think that I agree with a lot of the things that Skiva said about it. I think it makes sense for some people. I think it's I feel like everyone said it. This is a first generation product.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting that it's named the Vision Pro, implying that there's going to be just an Apple Vision, or something that's going to be a lower price tag maybe next year. And I'll be very excited to see what that is. I think this is, again, this is just planning, just like Meta did, 3 years ago. This is Apple planting a flag saying this is like where we're going in the future. And there's not, in VR, there's not always like a lot of great selling points for use cases. They're getting there's way more now. There's way more incredible ways to use headsets than there was 3 years ago. I think honestly, one of the things that got me excited that I was like, oh, I could totally do that was you guys probably had it preloaded, is there's something called Jig Space, which allows you to view CAD models. So you could see huge engine turbine and blow that up, or there was a heart, understanding how a heart, something about unplugging arteries and things like that. And I was like, I could imagine myself in architecture or in an engineering field, and I have a client coming in saying, hey, we're building this machine for you or whatever. And the part of the sales process is, hey, put on the Apple Vision Pro and let me show you in full scale, in full high definition, what you are purchasing from me is going to look like. And that being able to close a, $10 million engineering sale.
Yeah.
And that firm wants to use the highest fidelity, the best possible device. And, for a firm like that, they're like, sign me up for 100 of these, and that's where I see I don't know how much of that's going on, but I'm like, hey, I would love to come in and demo people on why they should buy this for their sales organizations and things like that. So I think there is a lot of use cases. For me, I'm just a tech enthusiast. I think if you're a tech enthusiast, I do this for a job. So obviously to make content and things like that, that's my career. But if you're an enthusiast that, has money sitting around, that, you've already put stuff in retirement, checkings and all that stuff, you got the money to spend. I think it's a really cool place to be. Again, we need more developers for this. So you don't even have to have a Vision Pro to develop for the Vision Pro, though. So
that's good to know. That's a good little bonus nugget there. And I'll say the way I like to think about this, and you mentioned it's a first generation device. I really do think that bears repeating. because
100%.
you know, I'm pretty sure there was an MP3 player before the iPod rolled around, but when Apple entered the space, like that was mind blowing. Like I remember the first time I used an iPod, I was like, oh my God, there is so much music on here. This interface is so comfortable. This wheel is badass. You know, like I thought it was amazing, but that screen was black and white, old as hell, like looks so dated compared to what came just shortly after. You know, 1-2 years later, we had the full color, you know, iPod photo, and then you got the iPod video, which was my last Apple product. Actually, it's the last thing I ever bought from Apple was the iPod video. But anyway, the point I'm making is that like if you compare just the iPod video, I mean the original iPod to the iPod video, they are night and day devices, like so separated, huge upgrades, and with relatively short time in between those releases. So, you know, if you imagine this Vision Pro to be the very first iPod and then see what happened with the iPhone eventually, I think that's the kind of trajectory that we can expect from this device.
Dude, absolutely. We are at the very beginning. This is just like that or the first iPhone or second iPhone compared to where we are today. You know, the original, maybe the Apple IIe compared to, you know, the new MacBooks we have now. This is the very first thing. It's going to get better. It's going to get lighter. It's going to get cheaper. It's going to get more accessible. I've said this before. I can't wait to see a day where we go back to a two-handed species, where we don't always have a phone in our hand, where I can always just use my other hand to do life. Do you know what I mean? Without looking at a phone, replying to a text. Like when I can have that in my vision on a HUD, that's the ultimate thing. And that will eventually be like the size of these glasses. We have lots of tech in that category now that we saw at CES. You know, we have X-Real, we have all of these different types of clear glasses, AR headsets that are getting there. Eventually the two will merge. We will have high computing on smaller devices. This is just the beginning, and it's a pretty good beginning.
It's a really good beginning. It's more impressive than the first iPod.
And I'll say, you know, I was thinking about this today, that I think one of the concerns of a lot of people is kind of this dystopian future where everyone is wearing a headset and everyone's disconnected from each other. And I'm not going to deny that that could be a reality, but I think the more optimistic way to look at it is, you know, if you guys could see kind of what I'm looking at with my setup is, you know, I have 3 monitors and, you know, this light here and this light, a huge there's so much tech in this room. And I just imagine a world where, imagine if your space doesn't have to be set up for all this extraneous tech, that you just have a beautiful house that's like set up for, you don't have any real technology. There's no TV on the wall. There's no huge laptop and desktop screens. There's none of that. And when you want to go in and you want to work or you want to have entertainment, you have these glasses that you put on to enter into that. And when you don't want to have screens and advertisements and all this stuff, you can take those off and be back into maybe a world that we had before all of this technology. And so I think there's a total possibility to be able to be even more disconnected maybe when this technology goes forward. Now, I don't know, because, you know, everything that we create is going to just be incredible, and it'll probably be kind of hard to step away from it. But I think the people who are creating these technologies are thinking pretty hard about the ethics involved and what the repercussions are. And so I'm excited. I think there's an optimistic way to look at more and more technology and being able to, you know, integrate that into our lives in a different way than we have. So,
you know, I usually try to like give our guest an opportunity to give us some closing thoughts before we wrap an episode, but dude, that was so succinctly put. I feel like you just hit us with it. Like, I think those are great thoughts to wrap up our conversation with. And dude, Weebs, gotta say, man, it has been so much fun having you on as a guest. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'll be on soon. Again, invite me back.
We just might, you know, play your cards right, and you know, maybe season 9 rolls
Put some
around.
money under the table.
Hey, you know, you got a lot of subs. You're doing good over there. You could probably slice us off a little piece of that.
You'll see me in the super chats. Super chats.
That's right.
I'll get my booze and whatever else.
Yeah, I'll hit you with the crickets too, bro. You'll get the crickets. Well, thanks again, dude, and I guess we'll see you next month in Austin.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, sounds good.
Looking forward to it, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody, who's help us in join us in helping to say goodbye to Justin Wiebe VR. Description has links to his TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff. Click on that stuff and go support this guy because he's the real deal. Thanks again, dude. We'll see you soon.
See you later.
Of course. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Later. Bye. Pff, and he gone. Boom. First guest of season 8. Bam. Just like that.
Nice.
Done deal.
Nice.
Feels good.
Man, you know, I knew we were going to be talking about the Apple Vision Pro, but I did not expect it was going to dominate the entire podcast.
It did not the whole. It was like half.
Something like that.
Maybe 2/3. But the thing is, it doesn't, I mean, any way you slice it, dude, this is an incredibly impactful time for our technology.
It absolutely is.
And, you know, I don't expect this to be the conversation we have every episode.
Oh, yeah.
But certainly immediately after trying it, we have to weigh in. We have to talk
for
about
sure.
it.
For sure. It is a very historical time.
Yeah.
You know, we have known the power of spatial computing for, you know, for a really long time now. We've been preaching it to the high hills, and you know, and now we have, you know, a multi-trillion-dollar company going, yep, that is correct.
It's going down.
Here's our contribution to it. So I'm glad that all of these people are walking into an Apple store and they're getting a really good demo of what spatial computing can do and why it's so important and why it's the future, and it's turning all of these people on to know, hey, this is a thing. This is where we're going.
Yep. Amen. Amen to that. Well, hey, everybody, you know, the first guest of season 8, it's done, right? We're back in the swing of things. Between Realities is in full effect. You can expect this to keep going, right? Every Friday from here on out until probably summertime, we will be bringing a new guest from the world of VR to the podcast to have amazing in-depth conversations like the one that we just did. Shout out to everybody who joined us for the live stream on YouTube today. RedSlashAce, Arcanian, Mateo311, and Fabster sliding in here for the latter half of our episode. Thanks for coming in, guys. Mahina and Brandon VR, and Failed to Render and Amelia Faust, Paradise Decay, Qcreator, Brandon VR, Arcanian, Casey Mon, of course, Diz the Game Cat, Getting Things Done, Tribe Grey Wolf, and Space Denizen, Shaggy, Gunshot Rida, Eric from Q2C VR, Impact Reality, Assassin 32, and you know, all of you who maybe I've slightly missed, Duggars K, Mahina, Silver Nexus, Michael, thank you for joining us for the show. And shout out to those who maybe caught this on Upload VR, because guess what? We're still affiliated with Upload VR as proud Upload VR correspondents. So this episode should be showing up on Upload VR over this weekend. And if it doesn't, then it will after this one. But I'm pretty sure it's going up. All right, Skiva, what are we doing next week?
Next week, we are diving into the wonderful world of esports with the CEO of the VR Master League, where we will be talking about VRML, competitive gaming, and you know, we got to go to the VRML Con in Denver, Colorado this past year, and saw the very final Echo tournament, which was absolutely amazing.
That was in Salt Lake,
wasn't it? It was so good. No, that was in Colorado. In Denver.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it was so good, and it was fun, and so we're gonna have Alex Nightfire on, and he's gonna tell us all about what they're doing, what they're up to, you know, how VR esports is chugging along, and what we should be looking for in that scene.
Dude, and I just gotta say it, and I'll be saying it a lot on the next episode. This guy is such a talented caster.
Yeah, he really is.
If you've ever heard people give the play-by-play during like a live broadcast of like sports, like sports broadcasters, he does this for esports, and it is insane the level of skill at which he executes this stuff. I will be blowing him up and just like gassing him up the whole episode next that is a skill that I am just, it's like freestyle rapping.
He's really good, and they have a couple casters there that are just so amazing, and they just add so much to watching a competitive game.
Yep. So we're going into the VRML next week with Alex Nightfire. I'm going to be doing some gaming this weekend. Are you busy this weekend? You going to be gaming?
I will be gaming. We are going out again with some HTC people and some of the VR homies tomorrow. But other than that, I will be gaming. I'll be playing all kinds of stuff. I've been playing a lot of Dead Hook lately, and also of course Pal World. So I'll be in there a bunch too. I'm
going to get into Pal World. I'm also going to check out the Brazen Blaze beta from my dearest.
Nice.
I want to play that game.
I mean, you got to get it. I mean, right now you got to get it when other people are getting in. There's not. I mean, if you go in there,
that's good to know.
No one there.
I'll do.
But
that.
It is really cool. Yep.
Sweet. Hey, thanks again, Kensei, Samson, and Duggars. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and join our Discord. Links in the description below. Maybe we can play some games together this weekend. We will see you next Friday with Alex from the VRML. That's Mr. Nightfire. Have a good weekend, everyone. See you soon.
Bye-bye.